Before we start the show, we'd like to thank our 2025 sponsors of Beefmaster Banter. SEBA, the Southeastern Beefmaster Breeders Association, Jones Beefmasters, Mr. Clark Jones, Valor Cattle Company, Jordan Taylor out of Georgia, Rockin' RB Beefmasters, Beef, the Beefmaster Education Endowment Fund, JCS Farms Beefmasters, the Strickland family, Emmons Ranch, Cottage Farms, Lissy Beefmasters, C&M Ranches out of South Carolina, and G&M Cattle Company out of Taylorsville, North Carolina. Thank you all for your sponsorships. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Beefmaster Banter, the official podcast of Beefmaster Breeders United. I'm your host, Hannah Nixon, the Director of Marketing here at BBU, joined by my gracious co-host, Dr. Lance Bauer. Lance, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Hannah?
I'm doing just fine. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, on each episode, we dive into the people, programs, and progress that keep the Beefmaster breed moving forward. Now, for those of you who have been here a time or two before, it may seem a little different because you have two new voices to listen to as your hosts. Lance, do you want to tell them a little about that?
Yeah, so first off, Josh and Jared, for the past 4 years, have done an outstanding job with this podcast. They came to us and asked us if we'd be willing to take it over as an association. I said, absolutely. I think it would be great. They've done it. Like I said, they did a terrific job building this, and we can't wait to take it and see where it goes from here and dive into some topics that we think will be interesting to all of our listeners, all of our breeders, and anybody who wants to hear more about the Beefmaster breed.
Absolutely. And we're so excited. We're obviously super gracious to Jared and Josh and for giving us this opportunity. And I can promise you it won't be the last that you hear of them because we have pretty much told them that they're going to have to come back on as guests with us. So we're excited to have them back on soon, but also excited to introduce you to our guest today, Mr. Coulter Croft. How you doing, Coulter?
Good. How are you, Hannah?
Doing good. Coulter, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about your position and your background a bit?
You bet. So I'm the general manager at Next Gen Cattle Feeding, a branch of Next Gen Cattle Company. We're based out of Hugoton, Kansas. Kind of my role at the feed yard is to oversee day-to-day operations. We've got 50,000 head on feed here throughout the year, and excited, to be a part of the Beefmaster breed and finish some of those cattle out here.
Awesome. So, Coulter, I know you and I've talked a little bit and everything. What is just kind of your general overall experience with the Beefmaster breed and Beefmaster-cross cattle that come through the yard? What do you see that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about the Beefmaster breed is the size and frame that they bring to cattle and finishing cattle and the bone and structure that's underneath those cattle with the amount of weight we're trying to put on cattle these days. So pretty neat to see that come and see it from a bull perspective at our bull sale. Get to see it from all ends of the spectrum.
And feeding those Beefmaster cattle, can you share with us some of the performance, in the yard, how they feed, conversions, things like that?
You bet. Yeah, I put a handful of lots together. Just wanted to kind of give an average. These lots are from multiple different states. Some of them are purebred, some of them are crossbred. Out of the 5 lots that I chose, the average daily gain on those lots was a 3.27, and the conversion was a 6.28 with an average pay weight of 1,498 pounds. Those cattle at the plant also averaged 84.76% choice plus. So some pretty strong numbers coming from various backgrounds and different states. It's exciting to see different in weights. So just a whole spectrum of cattle in those 5 lots.
Coulter, how would you speak to how the Beefmaster cattle that you see running through there compared to, neighboring pens, things like that of different breed backgrounds? I think that a lot of folks have some misconceptions about the Beefmaster breed being an eared breed of cattle that, they're not grading at that level. And maybe, the performance is there, but maybe not so much the feed efficiency. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the cattle stand out, and stand up, hold their own next to other breeds in the industry. Also, when you cross that across into other breeds, it seems like it helps those breeds as well. So I think when you're looking at those animals, you're going to see something that can handle that weight, something that might weigh the same as the neighboring pen that when they're walking across there doesn't even look like it's carrying the same amount of weight as an animal next door. So pretty neat to be able to compare those cattle and here every day.
I got to come up there to the feed yard midsummer, and like we said earlier, I didn't get the privilege of getting to meet you, but getting to walk through those pens with the Beefmaster cattle and Beefmaster influenced cattle, it was interesting. I feel like, we talk about how Beefmaster cattle have that heat tolerance that works so well for the breed, but I thought it was interesting to see it in action, compared to some of those other pens of different breeds of cattle that, maybe just weren't performing as well in some of that midsummer heat in Hugoton, like the Beefmaster pens were.
Yeah, I think that's super critical to, feeding out here. This year we've had a wetter than normal year as far as rainfall. So I do feel like those cattle excel and, probably hold their own in this heat and the humidity that we're not used to seeing in this part of the world.
For sure.
Now, you talked a little bit about the efficiency and those types of things. How do they compare health-wise, to other breeds of cattle, other neighboring pens? Do you see any advantage to those crossbred cattle in terms of pulls and death loss?
Yeah, I would say it definitely varies by the background of those cattle. You definitely see, I do think it helps some other breeds when we do see it in a crossbred, just because they are a little easier to handle. They handle the heat a little easier, sorry. So I think we do see some benefits to some of the crossbred cattle that are out there in the yard.
In terms of, bottom line for guys that, do some retained ownership or look at that bottom line, look at cost of gain, is there any advantage to using Beefmaster, Beefmaster-cross type cattle on cost of gain compared to yard average?
Yeah, I'd say they're running right there with some of the other breeds that are out there. And I think that there's definitely that misconception that we've talked about that these cattle can't perform at that level or do what other breeds are doing. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is that they are just as competitive as other breeds that are out there, and potentially from my point of view, that since they can carry that weight in this market right now, I feel like it's a stronger market for a Beefmaster animal than ever before.
You may have touched on this, Coulter, but what kind of numbers are y'all running through per year that are Beefmaster bred or Beefmaster influenced compared to, your more conventional lots?
We haven't touched base on it. I'd have to kind of dig into just the Beefmaster. I could tell you, from our customers, which we've, as you guys know, we sell multiple breeds of bulls at the sale. As a whole, I think it's something we're really proud of with our buyback program that we have. We've bought, I believe, 21,000 head this year of buyback calves from our bull customers. So that's something we're super proud of and something that we want to stay competitive with. Obviously, we want to be first or we want to be second if we can. If that's the case, we can't win every time, but we definitely want to try to. So I'll have to get back to you on a Beefmaster head.
I put you on the spot. But that buyback program, I was going to touch base on that a little bit with you because I remember hearing when I was there, I just assumed that, it was maybe some neighboring states. I didn't realize everything was stretching so far across the U.S. Can you speak on that a little?
Yeah, we buy calves all over the country. I mean, we're a commercial feedlot, so we're trying to be in the market every week. Also try to buy back these bull customers' calves, and that can be in anywhere from Florida, South Texas, ranges to multiple different states, and that could be in our own backyard. We buy calves from that are Beefmaster bull calves from our neighboring ranches that are 40 miles from the ranch in northeast Kansas. So neat to see that breed has kind of filtered into Kansas and is starting to find some substance there. So
Absolutely.
So this isn't necessarily Beefmaster related, but just overall health related. From your experience, what do you see, when those cattle come into the yard, if they've been, on a VAC 45 or wean 45 plus days versus something that's stripped and shipped? I think that's just something good for everybody to know, the difference you see there.
Yeah, I think calves that are unweaned and come straight to the yard, we've got a whole different protocol, and those cattle require more care for sure. We try to keep extra water, hay, mineral in the pen with cattle that are unweaned and may struggle, and we have a higher protocol in the processing barn for them, whether that be a mass treatment or a different treatment protocol, I guess, in the barn. But I do think like a hard weaned calf, that gives us the ability to come in. They've had their shots. They're prepared to see some of these other cattle, because we might have a pen of cattle that come out of South Florida standing next to a pen of cattle that came out of an Oklahoma sale barn right next to them. So there is a huge benefit to vacuuming those calves, weaning those calves for us. I do know in this industry, in this market, it's getting tougher for your calf guys to want to hold on to those calves. So I can understand why we're seeing a little more of the unweaned calves in the market right now.
Where, I guess, as we move into the future, we've kind of mentioned heat and the things that y'all aren't used to. I mean, I guess in my mind, I see that as a big advantage for the breed in the future and moving forward. I mean, do you see that as an advantage for Beefmaster moving forward? That heat tolerance and adaptability in the yard?
Yeah, I do. The direction we're headed, the amount of days we're putting on cattle now, I think there's going to be a lot of growth for the Beefmaster industry and the crossbred. I just see that being the biggest thing right now with the amount of pounds on. And I mean, you're talking about 30, 45 more days than we used to feed cattle a few years ago. So I think it's making a huge difference, and the fact that those cattle are staying mobile and feel good about being on feed, and we're asking them to put those extra pounds on. So I think that's a big deal here where the industry's headed. The commercial feeding industry is.
Now and this is a little off, but we've always prided ourselves on being a maternal breed, and that's what we've preached. And I think one of the biggest things I wanted out of this podcast and this everything is for people to see that when you cross those Beefmaster cattle, you do have a marketable product, something that you can go out there with, and the steers aren't going to hurt you like that preconceived notion. You mentioned we were at 84% choice plus or better on those pens that you've analyzed. How does that compare to the rest of the yard and the rest of the industry?
Yeah, I think that's probably right in there at an industry average, and holding in. You're talking about a lot of different breeds that are in there and different types and kinds of cattle, but they're right there in at the average. I believe that it's funny you brought that up about steers, because every lot that I read off on the average they were all steer pins. So pretty neat to see that sure. Performance.
So, I don't think you'll see too many Beefmaster heifers get fed, because that's the hardest thing for me to find is somebody calls and says, I want a pen of Beefmaster heifers for replacements. And I'm like, good luck. Everybody I know is keeping their replacements out of these Beefmasters. So I think that's one thing that we've had a hard time getting across to people is, hey, look, your steers aren't going to hurt you if you use Beefmasters.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's more want or need for a steer in the commercial cattle feeding industry right now, just I go back to the pounds every time. There's more pounds to be had on a steer calf than there is on a heifer calf at finish. So I think you're exactly right on the steers.
Coulter, I'd love to know a little bit more about you personally. What were you doing before Next Gen? What's your family like? That sort of thing. If you don't mind sharing.
Oh yeah, no, be glad to. I've been in the feedlot industry since I got out of high school. Dipped my toe in a couple different industries to see what was out there and what the world was about. But that's kind of all I've known since I got out of high school. I was raised in it. My father was in the feedlot industry for 45 years, so kind of a family deal, I guess. But I think probably for me being in the feedlot industry, I go back to I started out riding pins and seeing what cattle look like every day from the back of a horse. So to see the different aspects of a feedlot and see cattle from that perspective in different, times a year and different places, different parts of the world, it's been a really good thing for me and a great experience for me over the years. So, I've kind of did that, and then I moved into the feeding part of the feed yard. I started learning how to call feed and drive a feed truck and run a mill. So pretty neat to experience both sides of those things before, my career kind of took off from there. So super blessed with the people that have been in my career and helped me through my career. And then my family, I touched a little bit about my father, but I grew up about an hour east of the feedlot here. I'm married to Ty, and we have a 5-year-old son, Jade, and a 2-year-old daughter, Tatum.
Wonderful.
So they've both spent a lot of time in a feedlot, if you can imagine. But it's super good to share that with my family and work for a family company that allows me to do that. So I really appreciate the people. I don't think it gets talked enough about enough people in this industry that touch you and help you get through and kind of mold you into who you are. So appreciate all those people in my career so far.
Well, I really appreciate you touching base on that. I'm sure the majority of our audience are grown Beefmaster breeders, but there's also some young folks out there who I think are passionate about the industry and want to hear about the kind of backgrounds that would be valuable in roles like yours. So I would assume that the perspectives that you've gained through your experience make you that much more valuable in your role now. And I love hearing your thankfulness to those who've impacted you. I think that's so awesome.
And I agree. And I mean, I think this whole industry is a family industry. I mean, I think sometimes we get a bad rap as an industry about being corporate farms and stuff, but it is a family industry. I mean, my 2-year-old daughter loves cattle. And I mean, that she always wants to see cows wherever she goes. She wants to see cows. And so it's great. I think it's a great way to raise a family too, and kind of brings everything back around and brings everybody back down. So I think it's great to hear your perspective there as well and your experience.
Yeah, I think it's something I agree that can't be talked about enough. And you guys have met our ownership group, and they're very family oriented, and so it's great to work for a company that is as big or has as many things going on as we do in different aspects of the industry. So I can't speak volumes about the company as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. Well, Lance, did you have any other questions?
I didn't have any other questions. Thank you, Coulter, for your time and getting on here with us and, just sharing about Beefmasters and yourself, and look forward to continuing to work with y'all and everything. So again, thanks for your time. Hannah, thank you for helping me out. And thanks to the former hosts that turned this over to us and trusted us with this.
No doubt. We'll be getting in contact with both of you, Jared and Josh, to see if we screwed up too bad. And Coulter, I'll be in touch with you because I'll want to come back up there for a photo and video shoot. That was an awesome yard to go through, and I'd love to come back up and get to know you as well.
Yeah, be great to have you. appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to hearing the results of this. So.
Thank you.
And finally, thank you to the listeners who joined us today. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and we're so excited to continue to bring you great content from the Beefmaster breed. Please know that we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Beefmaster Banter. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.